the truth is 90% of the job is boredom. Checking radios, restocking gear, driving back home because the missing hiker showed up at a gas station before we even finished lacing our boots. I signed up as a volunteer after moving back home. I figured it was a decent way to give back, maybe feel useful again. Our SAR unit covers a massive stretch of mountain forest, crags, forgotten trails, floodplains, abandoned logging roads. Beautiful if you're just hiking, deadly if you get stuck overnight. We're based out of a small depot near the ranger station. Mostly paid staff, but volunteers like me fill the gaps when numbers run low or terrain gets too rough to cover fast. They always pair us up, one experienced member with one volunteer. My guess was to make sure we didn't cause another rescue while out in bad conditions. The alert came in at 4:17 p.m. A heavy winter storm was rolling in fast, about to hit the region with snow, wind, and zero visibility. Multiple hikers reported seeing a little girl in a red coat near Ridge Trail, wandering alone. No adult in sight. No missing child report matched her description. The sheriff's office passed it straight to SAR. When I checked in, I prayed to be paired with anyone except Riker, the oldest guy there by at least 2 decades. He looked like someone carved out of rawhide and bad memories. He spoke less than anyone, had a reputation for being hard to work with, and my luck was terrible. He was the only senior left to partner with. We gathered gear from the supply trailer, radios, thermals, maps, flares. As I clipped on my headlamp, Riker handed me something I hadn't seen anyone else carry. A brass whistle worn smooth from years of use. Only use it if you get turned around, he said quietly. And only move toward the returning whistle. He showed me his own, tied around his wrist. I stared at it. What else would I follow? I asked. He paused and looked at me for the first time. If you hear another whistle, he said, just follow the sound, never the voice. He didn't explain, just adjusted his pack and walked off. It stuck with me more than it should have. The storm hadn't hit yet, but the air felt heavy, like it was holding its breath. The light was already fading as our team leader assigned search grids. Most units went west where hikers might survive a cold night. When my name came up with Riker, he spoke before I could. We'll take Grid E. That wasn't where the girl was last seen. It wasn't even near the main trails. No one argued. Riker had seniority and respect even if he barely spoke. We geared up, thermal layers, waterproof shells, radios, headlamps, GPS. I carried a PLB, a map, and a storm-calibrated compass. Riker didn't bring a map. He never did. They dropped us at Grid 3E near the ridge perimeter. By the time we stepped off, the sun was gone. The tree line looked like a black mouth opening wide. Riker switched on his light and walked straight into the woods. I followed. The last of the daylight vanished. Ahead were trees, frost, and somewhere out there, a little girl who shouldn't exist. The wind shifted hard, snapping branches like warning shots. The trail dissolved into rock and deadfall. I marked our path with orange flagging every 30 meters. Fog didn't roll in. It rose from the ground, curling around our legs. This grid's a mess, I said, trying to sound relaxed. You think she came this way? Not recently, Riker muttered. But she always circles east eventually. That stopped me. I almost asked what he meant, but he kept moving. The forest felt loud in a wrong way. Riker paused often, tilting his head, listening like the woods might speak if he waited long enough. I logged our position, pace, visibility. Still, it felt like we were drifting, always a few degrees off. After half an hour, Riker spoke again. What would you do? He asked. If you found her and she asked for help? I laughed nervously. That's why we're here. He didn't respond, just kept walking. I started watching him more closely. The way he moved quietly, how the cold didn't seem to touch him, how his boots never sank deep, even in soft moss. Then we both stopped. A voice drifted through the trees. Hello. No footsteps, just the word. We scanned the woods. Riker pointed. A small red mitten hung at eye level, snagged on a broken pine limb. Clean, bright, untouched by frost or debris, like it had been placed there moments ago. Riker stepped forward. I followed, but the unease had climbed into my throat. For the first time, I wondered if Riker wasn't searching for the girl at all. The ground sloped upward. Snow started falling, dry, whispering flakes. The radio crackled uselessly. Visibility dropped to 30 feet. My compass twitched like something dying. Then Riker raised a hand. Between two trees stood a small figure. Red coat. Hood up. Watching us. She wasn't hurt. She wasn't scared. Her coat was spotless. I lifted my radio. Riker caught my wrist. Don't. That's what we're here for, I said. She's not alone, he replied. Follow her and you'll find out what she's with. I stepped forward anyway. She turned and walked. She moved between trees, red flickering like a pulled thread. Before disappearing, she looked back and smiled. Like she knew something I didn't. I followed. Snow thickened. Wind howled, shaping sounds that almost formed words. My radio died mid-call. I stopped panicking, but I couldn't turn back. Not after seeing her. Then she vanished. No tracks. No sound. I raised the whistle. One sharp blast. A reply came. Same pitch. Same length. Relief hit until a voice followed it. Hello. It wasn't Riker. It was her. The whistle came from behind. The voice from ahead. I chose the voice. The terrain changed. The forest tightened. My compass spun and stuck. I passed under a natural arch of branches and knew I was lost. Then I saw her again. Clearing. The girl waited. Behind her stood something tall and gray. It blinked. His face wasn't made for eyes, but it saw me. She smiled. Help me, she said. It's so cold. Her mouth never moved. The thing shifted. That's when I understood. She wasn't separate. She was bait. A mask. I ran. The forest folded in on itself. Every path led back. Then something lunged. And suddenly, an arm dragged me sideways. Quiet. Riker. He pulled me behind a log. Distracted it. And somehow it left. We hid in a concealed shelter, maps, supplies, years of notes. This wasn't a rescue cache. It was a war room. It waits, Riker said. It lures with hope. He showed me the mark on his arm. A handprint. I'm already gone, he said. He went out into the storm alone. Gunshots echoed. Then silence. At dawn, all that remained was his whistle. I stayed with SAR. Because now I know. It's still out there. And now it's my turn.